Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Nick Bosa getting extended. What's the guaranteed money going to look like? And is there a concern in mind that he might deal with injuries this season because he had no ramp up period? And I know a lot of people.
Whoa, slow down, slow down. It hasn't been official that he's going to get
Yeah,
extended.
that's true.
Jason
That's true.
Dumas of Cron in San Francisco says he spoke to a source that said the expectation is that Nick Bosa is going to play week 1 and they're going to sign this soon. So that's the report. It's most likely going to happen soon, but it hasn't happened yet. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. So that is thank you for specifying, because that probably was
just so people know.
important. But if he does get extended, what kind of does the deal look like? And I'm guessing the Niners get extend pretty soon. And I know a lot of people want to say, he trains a lot in the offseason. It's still not contact football. I highly doubt it. I really highly doubt he's playing like full speed contact football. So
it's impossible.
Because I know that when the Niners tend to sign guys to big extensions, I mean, Deebo Samuel, Jimmy Garoppolo, down year, and who knows what Nick Bosa. I mean, he's like a bigger unknown than we all put stock into. Like, what's his shape going to look like for the first?
He's had season-ending injuries like 3 times in his life: high school, college, and in pros.
Last year, he was dealing with injuries earlier on as well. So, like, it could be that earlier on in the season that he has to deal with some injuries. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm thinking they're probably going to sign him this week. It'll probably be like a 5-year, $165 million contract, something like that, with $110 million total guarantees and like a signing bonus of, I don't know, $45-50 million. Like, I think when it happens, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, like that's pretty much what we expected. And why did this take so long? I don't understand why this took so long. Like, were the Niners playing hardball with the defensive player of the year? Like, good luck winning that one. Or was Nick Bosa dragging his feet? At first I thought Bosa was dragging his feet because like he didn't want to be in Santa Clara and just wanted to not chill in Miami, but work out in Miami at his home gym. But I looked, and Joey Bosa signed his extension with the Chargers in July. 3 years ago. So I feel like if the Niners came correct with the right offer, Nick would have said yes, like his brother did. And I can't imagine that the Chargers were more eager to spend money than the Niners. Like, the Niners have way more money than the Chargers. So it just feels the Niners are looking a little rinky dink right now. Like, Parag is trying to get a little too cute here. Or you agree with Parag and you're like, hey, Bosa, like, yeah, you were the defensive player of the year, but you did miss a whole season. You have 2 torn ACLs. I don't know. If you want to play hardball with Bosa, it seems like you need to be prepared to trade him. And I don't think
it's not going to be.
So what are they really doing?
Is it not going to be fully guaranteed? You don't think so? Because TJ Watt's contract last, I believe it was year, was $80 million guaranteed at signing.
Total guaranteed. Yeah. So I think Bosa's going to be more than that. It'll be probably like 110 million total guarantees. But I'm talking signing bonus, just the signing bonus.
Right.
Probably be like 50 million, something like that. Like the check, that's a big ass check. Excuse me for my language. That's a big freaking check to sign to cash to sign. Like, wow. Imagine just getting $50 million deposited in your bank account. Like, man, that's going to change. That's going to change you a little bit.
The cash is going to fill up my room. I could just see a whole room full of
money. Would you care about football as much anymore if you just got $50 million? Like, it might be hard.
Yeah, that is tough. True. That is true. I mean, here's my thing as far as like a football perspective. First week, he's playing Broderick Jones, rookie tackle from Georgia, who tends to be a more physical tackle. If you look, I mean, Georgia had a really run-based offense when Broderick Jones played there. And so the physicality there, I mean, he's going to, from week one, he's going to have to face a very physical tackle in Broderick Jones, unless he lines up on the other side. I guess Broderick Jones' left side is the left side. But then you go a few weeks later and you face the Giants, who they have a really good left tackle. His name is, I think it's something Thomas as well there. So I don't know. I know that the Steelers are going to try to run it a lot on the Niners. They have a good run game. And so he's going to have to, from day one, I think the Steelers are going to try to out perform it.
Can we come back to something you said earlier? You mentioned that the Niners don't have a good track record with players they give extensions to like the next season, right? You mentioned that. I think it's a really interesting point. Let's stick there for a second. So Debo signed his extension, had a down year last year. Fred Warner signed his extension a couple years ago, had his worst year in the league right after that. It wasn't a bad year, but it was his worst year in the league. That was 2021, I believe. Who else? There was Jimmy Garoppolo signed his extension towards ACL. Yeah. There was D Ford signed a big contract, never worked out. Eric Armstead signed that big contract, had a down season.
The center, what's his name? Richburg. Yeah,
Richburg. He had McKinnon.
Tore his, I think it was meniscus. Yeah. Was it that year? Something like that.
Now they extended Trent Williams. That went all right. Who else did they extend? Like this has happened to them a lot. And you wonder, like, is it because the way they structure their contracts in that first year, it's mostly signing bonus, very little base salary. So there's no incentive to play, to play well. Like you just gave the dude his salary for the next year and a half in one shot before the season even started. So if they have a down year, if they don't play, like that's okay. Well, it's no harm to them. When they get deeper in the contract, they have to, get those game checks, hit those incentives. I think there's probably more incentive to play. So maybe just the Niners de-incentivize their own players with this contract structure, and it's just human nature takes over.
Well, and I would like to see, because a lot of times signing bonuses are spread out among the years. So, I mean, I guess if they give him
in terms of how they affect the cap. So let's say Nick Bosa gets like a $32 million a year with the signing bonus of $50 million. That $50 million will be prorated over the 5 years. So $10 million a year will be added on to this cap number. So it'll be $10 million plus whatever the salary is that year. That's how you account for the signing bonus in the salary cap. But in terms of like the real cash, signing bonus is a check they give to you that you cash. Like it, one shot. So it's spread out against the salary cap, but in terms of real money, like that's something that Nick Bosa is going to get, and he's not going to. Like, if you look at his base salary, it's going to be very low for the first year, and it just seems like there's just way less incentive to play football under that. It's like, okay, thanks for paying me in advance. I'll do my best this year. You know what I mean? That's basically what they did.
Another thing I feel like maybe could be the holdup here, and I don't think we've touched on this a lot. Like we're all talking about the guaranteed money, and he wants more, and he wants to be. Yeah, just more guaranteed. But I think that another thing is we're also taking into consideration the Niners might want to sign him for like 6 years, and he might only want like a 3 or 4 year deal. That could be possible as well, because we saw that Aaron Donald got a 3-year deal, TJ Watt got a 4-year deal. All the top guys are wanting like these lower market deals. So you've said this multiple times on your show, so they can hit the market again and get another big check. I think that's an underrated look that we kind of haven't been touching on enough.
I tweeted it. I wondered it. But to me, I keep going back to Joey. Like the Bosas are a little corporation in and of themselves. The dad played in the league, the brothers in the league, and these guys are two of the best edge rushers in the game. So when Joey it was time for his extension, he took a 5-year deal, and he got it done on July 28th. So it seems to me that Nick would probably be open to the same thing, considering they have the same dad. They'd probably be open to a 5-year deal. He probably would have signed this in July. I have to think the Niners are playing hardball. And it seems like kind of a silly thing to do, because you're not going to win that game of chicken. You're going to lose. So you're either going to alienate Nick Bosa and he's going to ask for a trade, or you're going to decide you want to trade him. But if you do that, it's going to be like the DeForest Buckner move, and fans are going to be really, really upset, especially after you just traded Trey Lance. Like, I don't think they're in a position where they can trade Nick Bosa. So you just wasted a whole offseason. You're going to end up giving them what you could have gave them a month ago. It's probably going to be a 5-year deal worth like 165. Like, we could probably guess. You should have done this. I don't know what you accomplished, Parag, by dragging your feet. But if he, comes into this season and not in football shape and gets hurt, pulls a hamstring, like,
another story is like how hypocritical they are. They didn't want to spend on DeForest Buckner, and they didn't want to spend. It almost feels like they were saying in that year after the Super Bowl, they were saying, well, we already are spending a lot on our defensive line. Let's not spend any more. And now they have Armstead, Hargrave, and Nick Bosa all on the roster, all making above $10 million per year.
Right. They're like, we can't afford to spend,
and then a few years later,
and Bosa. Like, and now it's like, actually it's on 3, not just 2. 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three guys. Most expensive defensive line room, I would think, in the league.
They're